Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this March 7th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon, and we're also on the EOA network. And here in just a bit, we are going to have Kegger, Peyton, and McKenna with the Imbler Community Track Project talk to us about what's going on out there in Imbler. How are you, man?
It's First Friday.
Yeah.
I was late today. I was running late today, man. I don't like scrambling. You know that. Well, I do, but I don't. Like,
yeah.
I like to be like, I've gotten in a good rhythm.
And then your car wouldn't start?
Yeah. It's just it was like psh, psh, smack, smack. But whatever. It is what it is. I made it, and I got all my stuff done. I just don't like rushing through it. You know.
Yeah.
That.
So when
you get here about 6:30 at the latest, and today I was here at 7:35.
Yeah. So when I got the notification that Benny had
set the alarm,
turned the alarm off,
oh no,
like,
we're in trouble. I haven't been late in a long time.
I know it. Yeah.
Dang.
But it's all right.
We need new pictures for the opening. That picture's old. That's like 2 years old.
It is. We took them in the very beginning. Yeah.
We need something a little more colorful. I think we're like in black and like it just looks. We need to update it.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Well,
let's do it.
You want to do sports?
Do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Rock & Sons Tire and Auto, East End of Adams and LeGrand. If you need anything for your car, go see them. Go see JB and the boys. It's really cool, the stuff that they do for the community. And JB, he's always involved. He's not only our mayor, he's a local business owner, but he also gives to this community more than most people know. So if you need anything done for your vehicle, go see Rock & Sons Tire and Auto. Sports Report today is going to be really small. We're in transition, as most people know. The winter sports are coming to an end or have ended pretty much, and we're transitioning into spring, even though it doesn't really feel like it some days. Congratulations to Garrett Hawks of EOU men's basketball. Their season's over. He was named to the All-CCC team. He's the only Mountie this year to make that team. They struggled a little bit in my eyes. They weren't as good as I thought they were going to be, as most people thought they were going to be. They have a really talented team, and it just didn't mesh. Their season, like I said, has come to an end, and we'll see what Coach Kemp can do next year with this Mountie team. He's got quite a few guys returning, 4 seniors on that team, so we'll see what happens next year. The EOU women's basketball team, congrats to Bev Slater, Bree Holochek, and Bailey Brennan. They were all named to the All-CCC team, with Bree Holochek being named Co-Defensive Player of the Year for that women's team that we're going to find out today if they make the tournament or not. They made the tournament a couple years ago at 22-11. This year they're 27-7. So if I mean, I've talked to some people up there. They're saying 50-50. I would say it's probably a little better than that. I think EOU people tend to caution on the underside when they're giving out numbers like that. I think they have a better chance than 50-50 to make it. We'll find out today at 5:30 when the NAIA does their national tournament selection show. EOU women's wrestling is at their national tournament right now, and I've told you guys about the women that are wrestling for EOU there. I have 2 of them on my show today. I was going to release that show yesterday, pushed it to today, so I'll have Liv Weber and Irma Rotano from EOU women's wrestling on the sports show today, so be sure to check that out at 5:30. Like I said, for the local sports here, LeGrand and the outlying communities, we're transitioning into spring. Pretty much I think everybody in the valley is done now. I think everybody is out of winter sports. I'm pretty sure actually everybody's done. We don't have anybody left. The girls basketball team lost, boys basketball team lost, Union basketball team lost. And I think that, I don't think we have anybody left when it comes to sports. So it looks like it's time for baseball and softball. Pretty exciting. And tennis. Yeah, what else do they do in this? Oh, track and field. Don't forget about track and field, which is going to be exciting this year for EOU because they have a couple of kids that have a real shot at winning another national championship. So one thing I do need to mention, though, the other day when we had Hunter Sparks on, I was talking about national champions that have been on my show from EOU. and I skipped somebody, and I felt terrible.
Oh,
I caught it myself. Nobody else knows
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I don't know if they've seen it, but I doubt it, and I don't think she would say anything. But she's been on my show like 3 times, and she's one of my favorites. Maggie Ledbetter was the national championship last year in the shot put for the women.
Yeah.
And I spaced it. I said TJ and Hunter, and I didn't say Maggie. So I'm sorry, Maggie. Yeah, we talked about her winning a national championship numerous times. It just slipped my mind. AM Sports Report brought to you by Rockin' Sons Tire and Auto. Go see JB and the boys.
I really enjoyed Hunter Sparks the other day.
Yeah, he's pretty well spoken, huh?
Yeah,
He reminds me of an old man.
he
Like
does.
just
He's
the
got
way
a
he
little
carries
bit of an old
himself.
soul.
Yeah. He even looks older. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
looks like I'm talking to like a 35-year-old, but no,
Yeah.
he's 22 or 23 years old.
Yeah, I always, sometimes you'll see young men, when they want to look a little older, they'll wear a mustache. I
Yeah.
mean, that's always kind of funny to me when I see an 18 or 19-year-old kid with this big bushy mustache.
Yeah.
And he seems like that kind of person, but he just kept it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's cool. It's crazy the amount of work that has to go into what he's done too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 4 different colleges, everything from D1 all the way to NAIA.
Yeah.
Well, all the way to junior college. I mean, he wrestled at Clackamas.
Yeah.
And just the amount, I wonder how many hours he spent on those mats. I wonder how many skin funguses he's had. Oh my gosh.
We
can you
didn't
imagine?
ask that question.
I don't want to know,
Yeah.
actually. Oh, yeah. How many times have you had something weird growing
Yeah.
on your body, dude? Oh.
Now, is there still some younger wrestling going on?
Yeah, middle school state is this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have time to talk about all that.
No,
though,
I
on my
know, but
sports report.
I keep seeing.
I do make posts about it,
I
though.
see my
just-
friends,
Yeah,
they
the
have
middle
their
school
kids there.
states this weekend, and I made a post last week about all the kids that qualified for that, and shared some pictures.
Yeah.
And I got some moms and dads that hooked me up with pictures from that. And once I know what happens at state, I'll keep everybody
Good.
informed about it. But I just don't.
Yeah,
have
and
time in the
and
morning
that's
for it,
that's the
suppose.
case with all of our stuff. Anytime somebody wants to send us pictures and stuff that needs a little bit of sunlight, we're happy to
Yeah,
happy to do that.
I say that over and over again.
Yep.
People will send me messages on us messages
Yeah.
on Facebook, and they'll say, "Well, why didn't you say anything about this?" And I said, "Because I didn't know."
Yeah, yeah.
Clell Carson from wrestling texts me every single time they have a wrestling event.
Right.
The winners, what happened, and you know what I mean. And a
Right.
couple parents send me pictures if I'm not there.
Right.
And that's that's the easiest way to do it because I can't be everywhere. I'm a one man show. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's like, hook me up. Like I'm more than willing to share if somebody says, hey, we got a game. We beat so and so tonight. Here's some pictures. I'll put it up.
Yep.
I'm more than willing to. 100%.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, let's take a look outside. The sun was shining this morning. I told Tanya,
Cold
it's like,
though. It's cold.
yeah,
out there.
it was, but it's like, man, I'll take that sun any day. It's just like changes my whole attitude.
Yeah, it changes your attitude till you walk outside and it's like 12 degrees and you can't even move.
That's all right. I'll
do
take
like the
I'll
sun,
take
though.
the sunshine and the cold any day. Let's look at
100%.
the forecast here. So 19 tonight. Yeah, so it's going to be cold, but that kind of looks like it's
That's the end of it. It looks like it's
kind
going to
of
warm
like
up.
yeah, I mean, but it's going to be in the 40s the rest of the week. Anyhow,
No rain until what, Saturday?
yeah,
that's not bad.
that's the guess, whatever it is.
Yeah, EOU softball and baseball are on the road this weekend, so that's good for them because this last weekend was a mess, having to play home games in Pendleton, and
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. You know that.
Yeah.
And I caught a little bit of flack for one of my Instagram posts yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Well, yeah, because I went on a rant. They released the rankings for
Yeah.
softball, and OIT, the defending national champions, are 9-6. They've lost 6 of their first 15 games. They were number 1 in the country to start the season. Rankings come out, they're 6th. I'm like, there's no way a team with 6 losses this early in the season should be ranked number 6 in the country. So I said something about it. And of course, we have a girl from LeGrand on OIT. And so I get all this backlash. I'm like, I really don't care. Like, I would say that about any team. EOU won 2 out of 3 from them. EOU starts at 24, right? EOU takes 2 out of 3. EOU's 9-3. The rankings come out, we're 14th. Respectable, fair, 100%. But 6 losses is not a top 10 team in my eyes.
Yeah.
Not in any division anywhere in the country. And it's just politics, and I said that, and some people didn't like it. Well, you know what?
Imagine that.
It's my Instagram page, so yeah. I did get a hold of Nicole though. I was like, if you get some backlash, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, hey, here in just a minute, we are going to have Kegger, Peyton, and McKenna with us talking about the Imbler Community Track Project. We'll be right back right after this.
Eastern Oregon is full of interesting people, with interesting minds and interesting things to say. Here at EO Live, we're committed to connecting you to these intriguing people with EO Talks. We let our special guests share their ideas and life experiences with deep, open, engaging, and inquisitive conversations. You'll also be informed in depth on some of the most recent and relevant events, issues, and more. EO Talks on EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku.
Running on this track was really difficult. I struggled with shin splints. I think our entire team struggled with shin splints.
One of the things that has haunted us for the many years is the lack of a surface that our kids can run on, practice on, our community members can take pride in as far as walking on. All we have now is pretty much a gravel track that was built by one of our local farmers.
I was honored to be voted the Oregon Girls Track Coach of the Year for OACA, and that was a great achievement considering that our kids, they're great athletes, but they don't have any facilities. We don't have a place to practice. We don't have a long jump pit, we don't have a high jump pit, we don't have a throw facility, we have a discus ring, but nothing else. And so for those kids to come in and be that successful without a facilities is amazing on their part.
We get a lot of small school athletes in general, and the majority of them aren't coming from good facilities. And with the Imbler athletes, I think that's maybe been a little bit more true than some of the others even.
I was riddled with injury going into my college career, and we needed to train at a higher level, which I hadn't experienced before. I think having my injuries from high school definitely hindered my future at a college level.
Small schools have lots of great athletes. They have the talent and skill to make it to any level. And if you are at a school that doesn't have the proper facilities, that just hinders them from meeting their full potential.
Donations and grants should be made payable to the Imbler Education Foundation, a 501c3 certified charitable organization, and all donations and grants are tax deductible.
All right, we're back. How are you guys?
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
And Kegger, you and I used to work together, and you and Kyle
Went to school together.
went to school together.
Yeah.
And so great to have you guys. Great to have you guys with us.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, and this is your daughter Peyton.
My daughter Peyton.
Okay, and her friend McKenna.
Yeah.
And now are you ladies both involved in track?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Both like 3 event
Wow.
athletes at Imbler.
And what year are you?
20. I mean, I'll graduate 2025.
Both
Oh.
juniors.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is your last year. So unfortunately, all this track project stuff you probably won't get to enjoy.
No, they got 2 more years
they
left.
got
If
one
they're
more year of
juniors,
track.
they have
I'm
this
sorry,
year
I'm
of
sorry,
track
okay.
and next year.
2025. Okay.
Yeah, there's a 20. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it just is all a blur right now. Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah. Good. So, well, tell us about. I mean, maybe let's start with the condition of the track. So that video did a pretty good job of kind of laying out the complications of it. Yeah. And so maybe let's just roll some of those pictures, Benny, and we'll kind of roll through this. So this is the current track. We saw this picture in the video just a minute ago, and there's not much to this.
Yeah. Tell them a little bit about like
They're-
what a practice looks like for you guys right now.
Well, basically we do run on that track. We try to do like all of our warm-ups inside. It's not like ideal conditions to run on that. There's a puddle on one side it's a big puddle, so we call it like Heidi Lake, which is our coach. And then we have to run through the football field in order to go around that.
And even then, it's still muddy and uncomfortable, and it can get pretty painful with like rubbing with blisters this early on in the season. That's why we try and stay in the gym to warm up until it gets warmer and drier and a little more comfortable.
There's no long jump hits or triple jump or pole vault. No discus. We have a shot put because of a kid that had a senior project, and he put a shot put ring in for us. But other than that, that's all we have.
So how did that track get there originally, and how long has it been there?
Well, I think it's been there since like the 70s. And it
Okay.
was actually put in by a local farmer.
Okay.
And so a group of people, obviously like we are doing now,
Yeah.
saw a need.
Okay.
They were able to facilitate that need at that time. And we're very fortunate to have what we have, because even though, you know, these athletes don't have all the things that other athletes in our county, but
Yeah.
more so in the state of Oregon have,
Yeah.
you know, without even that, they wouldn't be able to do what they're doing now.
Right.
And they're very competitive now.
Right.
So.
Well, let's go back to those pictures and go to the end. Keep going there, Benny. So this is the current. This is how it currently looks. Just keep going there, Ben. This is that. I mean, it's ratty looking without a doubt. Okay, but here, let's pause here for a second. So even though the teams have done pretty well, right?
Yeah.
We had like 69 kids in the junior high and high school participate in track.
69%.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then last year we had 17 qualifiers, 11 podium finisher. Our boys team finished second in the state, and then we had one state champion in the hurdles.
Wow.
Tell them a little bit about what that practice looks like for him.
I can kind of touch
you're
on
a
that a
hurdler,
little bit.
yeah.
I'm a hurdler. My dad's the hurdle coach. I'm very familiar with that type of stuff. It's really hard. We have 5 hurdles to practice with, which is not ideal. You can't hold a true traditional hurdle workout because on the track you're worrying about slipping, sliding, landing wrong. You can't come out of blocks and, you know, attack the first hurdle and time your steps correctly for that. Like, there's no space to do a good drill on your spikes. Like, you're practicing completely wrong to go and compete at a state level with no true knowledge or experience in the field that you're about to participate in. And he was able to overcome that and obviously took first at the championship, but that was really difficult for all of our hurdlers, not just him. Just, it's hard to know what you're going into and feel confident in those circumstances.
So McKenna, do you remember the first time that you were on a really nice track and you kind of reflected, and that either one of you ladies is like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like?
Well, I hadn't worn my spikes until I got on a real track. Like, they weren't broken or anything because they'd never been on a track before. So it's like our first meet, you go put your spikes on and you hope you do well in them and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's definitely trial and error your freshman year, just trying to learn what it actually feels like to run on a real track because we don't get to practice it. Now we're getting to travel to Elgin or EOU and we'll practice on their track, but that's not every day. They're gracious enough to let us do that every once in a while, but it's still not the same. You can't compete at the same level.
Yeah.
And then you're not getting home until 7 at night.
Right.
Because you have to wait for the buses to drop the kids off to come back because we're kind of short bus drivers too. So.
Well, and I don't know if it was in this video, but in one of the videos, Ben Welch, the EOU coach, who happens to be the father of Benny, who was in the control room in the other day, he talked about how, you know, a track of that condition can cause problems, right? Knee problems and shin problems. And, am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I say like a majority of our team by the end of the year has some kind of shin pain. I know like shin splints are very prominent throughout the season.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Definitely. And then you're taking that injury into districts, into state. I mean, that can
It slows you
harm.
down.
Right, yeah, it slows you down. It's painful. It's not fun to compete with, but
Yeah.
we're passionate about the sport and
Yeah.
push through it anyways.
Yeah, and as we're talking, if any of you have any questions or information that we're missing, please be sure and put those in the Facebook comments and we'll pass that on. So tell us about this project.
All right, so we, after state track last year, a group of community members, parents, student athletes got together and said, okay, there's a serious need here. What can we do to meet that need? And so we started working with some track companies to start getting some budgetary numbers. We've come up with a budget for an 8-lane track, including lights that would work for the track and the football field, is about a $1.2 million project.
Okay.
Okay. And so in the time since track finished, we had our first fundraiser, which was 4th of July, that got put on a 4th of July fun run, and there were some pictures there of that. And they raised over $5,000, and I think we got that prepared in about 3 days.
Wow.
Okay. So since that time, the committee has raised $75,000 in cash donations
Wow.
and pledges.
Great.
They've raised over $22,000 with the Halloween walkathon, the 4th of July run. We're going to have a gala that we'll talk a little bit about later on in the coming next month. They've also raised $100,000 in grants.
Wow.
And I think there's been 6 applications. Of those 6, 5 of them have been successful. The Ford Family Foundation, the team applied for a $25,000 grant with the Ford Family Foundation. They went through the application and actually came back to the committee and said, we'll give you $50,000 because of the merits of your project.
Right, that's
and
awesome.
so, you know, there's been a group of people that have worked tirelessly to get to where we are now.
Yeah.
And we have a ways to go. So we have raised with grants, in kind, some commitment through the school district. We're over $400,000.
Okay.
And that is close to half of what we need for a 6-lane track
Okay.
with lights.
Okay.
And so we are making progress. We've talked to other districts and track companies that we say, okay, this is where we've gotten to in this amount of time. And they said, well, you know, that's amazing because we've worked with this school district for 6 years for them to obtain enough funding to get this to happen.
Yeah.
So, you know, these girls, they might not see a full facility.
Right.
You know, I hope somebody comes to us and says, you know, this project merits
Right.
a donation and we could get there for them.
Right.
But realistically, it might not happen for them.
Right.
But there is generations of kids
Right.
that are going to benefit from this for years to come.
Well, and it seems like the condition of the track currently, that anything, even some pre-construction stuff would be better than what it is right now, right?
It'd be wonderful to have a long jump pit for a long jumper.
Yeah. So talk about some of the other amenities that you're adding to this. You said the track and lights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about the lights.
Yeah.
Okay. So part of the project is to add lights to the football field and track facility, and so currently the football program, a home game starts at 2:00 in the afternoon. Okay. So
because it's got to be done before dark.
Got to be done before dark.
Okay.
So whether I work at my job or whether you work for ODOT or wood grain or you know outdoor RV, you're making a commitment. You're making a choice whether you go to a 2:00 football game and leave work early if you can, or take the day off of work.
Right.
And that's a sacrifice that families, community members have to make. We're trying to make sure that family members don't have to make that sacrifice or don't have to make that choice.
Yeah.
And it's again something that's, yes, it's a large dollar figure. We've had donations come in from OTEC to help us with stuff. We've got a light company that's been working with us to help us with offsetting some costs with that. We've got people that are willing to do some in-kind work to get this in. So the committee is working hard to get the price tag down on all of this, and the community is helping with that. But it's something that's going to help people for years and years.
Right. Well, and I I like I mean, I think yesterday in the announcement that we didn't get the word community in there, which I think is super critical.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Imbler is kind of a unique, Imbler has been like a super strong school for a number of years, and, you know, for those of you that know, you know why that is. There's just been really solid, consistent leadership there over a long period of time. But Imbler has just been outstanding in what it does. I mean, there are people from LeGrand that will go to Imbler schools. Right. And so it does really well. And so, where it's positioned, halfway between here and Elgin, I mean, it's kind of like right in the middle of the valley. I mean, the community aspect of that track is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, if somebody wants to walk, and they do, I mean, I drive by the track up by the hospital all the time, and people walk on that track regularly. But I mean, there's really no place, if you're out in the middle of the valley, there's really no place for you to walk.
Yeah, except
you
for
can
on the
walk
road.
to your tractor and back, you know. But I mean, for people who, you know, want to do that, there's not a place for them to go.
Yeah, you know, and there's some people in Imbler that walk. I can set my watch by what time I see them out walking.
Right.
And they're walking on the street. Right. You know, or to get to the main sidewalk in town, which it goes down, you know, the highway. They're walking on the street, and it's unlevel, and it can be slick. Right. And you know, there's all those things that go with it. I mean, I see people walking on the track. Last weekend, I saw 2 boys and their dad. You know, I don't know if they're getting ready for track season or what, but they're out running the track that we currently have. Yeah. And so I think there is a community need. The school is the community. That's what we have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you presented the other day to Rotary, and that's where you and I connected again and talked about this. And I mean, it was really cool. In that meeting, I think you raised $1,500 or something like that, you know. But that is, I mean, this is a good thing. Yeah. I mean, there's not, I mean, it's a lot of money. Yeah. And there are other projects that are going on that are raising money and stuff. But this is, I don't know of any projects that are this sizable or that would make this much difference that are outside of LeGrand. And I think that's very cool and special. Mm-hmm. So, well, what other things are adding to this other than the lights and the track?
So, like facility-wise?
Yeah.
So, well, are you talking like?
Yeah. Do you have a pit? I mean,
we kind of have a pit right now, but we can't jump in it because the sand is really hard in it, and then it's asphalt. I think it's asphalt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you also can't wear your spikes when you practice and stuff. So, if we could even just get the track portion of that put in and get some new sand and stuff like that, that would be really beneficial. Even without the track, a lot of kids would use that.
Yeah.
The goal is to potentially break this up into parts. Okay. So let's say that we can't fund the whole project this summer. Maybe we can fund enough to come in, and these kids could have a long jump pit. Yeah. They could have a triple jump, a pole vault facility, and maybe we pick away at this, and if people can get involved and help with that stuff, maybe we can have that for 2025 track season.
So what of those things, what do you have that's functioning? Nothing?
The
shot put. We got a shot put that was put in for a
senior project.
Senior project last year.
Yeah, we do have shot
so one throw event.
Yeah.
Okay.
One event.
Yeah.
So if there were someone out there that happens to be like they were a previous pole vaulter and now they have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay, and they wanted to say, hey, we will fund the pole vault pit. You guys would be okay with that?
We would
Absolutely.
love
Yes.
Yeah.
We would do everything we could to make that advantageous for them and us.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. Well, that's cool. So tell me what else. What have we missed?
Talk a little bit about what a PR is.
Okay, so a PR is obviously a personal record. Our team takes that, as you can tell, there's a lot of kids that do track, so there's a reason that kids are coming back year after year, even the kids that aren't making it to the podium at state and stuff like that. And it's because we celebrate every PR as equal as the kids that are going to state. And our coach, in practice after a meet, our coach will announce PRs. and then they'll get a Jolly Rancher or something like that. But even the slowest kid is going to get cheered for as much as your fastest kid, just because there's a lot of support.
And sometimes more.
And sometimes,
I mean, if you go to one of these track
slower
meets,
kids can.
I mean, that success to see people at all levels. And that's the thing I like about track, is that everybody celebrates successes throughout the event.
Like not just your school.
Just the end.
It's like all the schools will celebrate it.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we're trying to do this year is sponsor PRs.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And so, so if you have a track athlete that comes to you, or if you're interested in sponsoring some PRs, get with the committee, because we're going to have some of these kids going out and saying, okay, will you give me $50 for every PR I get this year? Will you give me $250? Everybody's got a different level of how they can support the program, the project. But so that's one fundraiser that we're going to kick off this year is dollars for PRs.
Yeah.
And it encourages these kids to do more.
Right.
No matter where they're at. And mental health is such a huge thing for young people.
Right.
And track is hard.
Right.
And so, but they have their team around them. And so if you can get people to participate, it's just a huge thing. And this is going to be one way that we can encourage them to participate in raising money. And so their hard work's going to pay off.
Well, and Kyle and I talk a lot about how important it is for youth to be connected to something. They're good at something, whether that be music or track, or because and we all see that. The kids that drift are the ones that don't have a connection to something, and so that's super vital. And so, that's great. I guess the question I have is, the culture that has developed around track, who started that? Because that doesn't start overnight. To get to the point where it is, you guys want to throw some.
Well, I think the Bowers, Heidi Bowers and Barry Bowers, they're our head coaches, and I wish Mrs. Bowers would write a book on mental health, because I think she has helped a lot of track athletes through that, and I think that's why a lot of kids come back, is because she helped me a lot, so I really appreciate her.
Yeah, you always have a place on the team when she's the coach.
Yeah.
You always feel welcome. You always feel like you're meant to be there. You're worth something while you're there. Even if you're, not a varsity athlete, not a captain, not a podium finisher, you're supposed to be there. We want you there. We encourage you to be there, and she definitely leads that for us.
How does she do that? How does that happen?
I think she's approachable. So if you feel like something's wrong, or you're not sure what event you want to be in, you might be the slowest kid on the team, but you feel like you can go ask her, what should I be doing? And there's different workouts for each event, kind of. So if you're not sure, maybe you like hurdles, but you also want to run the 1500. You'd be like, what workouts do I do today? And you never feel like she doesn't have time for you, and that's really nice.
Yeah, and she's always honest. She'll always make time to give her opinion and give you the full attention that you need.
Yeah,
but she's going to hold you accountable.
Right. Yes, she also holds you accountable.
She makes you work hard.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I can interject on this a little too. My uncle coached track at Imbler in the 80s, and I remember stories from him how important track was, and the fact that they don't have a baseball team. That
good point.
There's no baseball in Imbler. They can't own that. So those kids tend to kind of push themselves towards track. Kids that would normally play baseball too.
Yeah. Well, great. What have we missed?
One thing that I think we should touch on is it's not just for the track. We talked a little bit about community.
Right.
But there's also a lot that takes place from a K through 6 level.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about the program that they have set up at Imbler for that?
Yeah, so in the elementary, even when we were in elementary, they had this going. I'm honestly not sure when they started it, but I remember it from first grade. We would go out. We did it during Fridays. Now I think it's optional. You can kind of do it whenever.
I think they do it on Thursdays now.
Thursdays?
Friday school. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We would go out onto the track, and you walk or run or skip, whatever you feel like doing for the day. You would go around the track, and however many laps you get, it's kind of like a point. And you get a little punch card, and you'd go to Mrs. McIntosh. That's who we had. I'm not sure who it is now. And you'd fill out your punch card, and then you would get charms after every card was filled out. And you'd fill this bracelet, and that's called the Mileage Club. And there's over 80% student participation in the elementary level for this. And they've put over 700 miles on the track through this program.
Just last year.
Just last year, yeah.
Yeah. So I just see a need, and I see it being utilized for a lot of different things.
Well, and I mean, and it will gravitate to people. I mean, you'll have people that need to walk but haven't walked. I'm in that camp, you know, and they'll be like, oh man, I want to. I mean, they'll be energized to go do something that they haven't done. Yeah. So
I like the fact that they decided to go for lights too.
Yeah.
I mean, because then you're hitting a completely different audience. You're hitting all those people that have to miss work on. I've commented about this before. I think those games at 2:00 are ridiculous. Like it's crazy that you would expect parents to be at a football game at 2:00 in the afternoon when, you know, you're trying to put food on the table, and attaching the lights to the track is a great idea, putting them together.
There's more people that come to a football game in Elgin from Imbler
Yeah.
or Union to a Cove, a place that has lights.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're better, you know, we travel better because you can go do that at 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So the other communities, do they have lights in tracks? I mean,
Most of them,
Most
yeah.
of them do, yeah.
I know North Powder, they don't have a track, but they have the lights.
Same with Cove.
Yeah, same with Cove.
Okay.
Union has lights and a track.
Yeah.
And Elgin.
And
Elgin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, you guys this is you catching up to everyone else in the area also. Yeah. And having lights just opens up a whole nother thing, you know. I mean,
well, last year they made it to state football, and as you know, I mean, Doddsy knows as good as anybody. Late in the year, practicing football, you know, and then you have, you know, the time change, and I mean, there's been times that they've actually had light towers out there, late season to I've heard stories about, you know, pickups parked around the football field.
I've
years
seen
ago
pictures
and
of
stuff.
that from Imbler, actually.
Yeah. And we have a plan. You know, the track is expensive, but it also needs to be maintained.
Right.
And with the fundraisers that we already have in place, you know, there's a plan for making sure that can be maintained into the future.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. I mean, you know, you can't just put this together and then run away from it.
Right.
And so.
No, it's like every 10-year thing. It has to be resurfaced.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I'm sure you've checked into this, but it seems like the state education would have a pool of money somewhere for this type of thing. Yes? No?
I know that we are applying for a OSAA grant.
Okay.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of grants, you know, in those $5,000-$10,000 range.
Okay.
But you know, to kind of continue momentum, you know, would really like to find some of those larger opportunities.
Yeah.
But there's people out there and that's why I appreciate the opportunity to do this today, because we can network, and that's what we're doing today.
Right.
There's people out there that maybe they can't financially support this program.
Right.
But they have time to write a grant.
Right.
And they know where to go find a
Or
grant.
make a couple phone calls, or send a couple emails.
And so, you know, that is just as important as somebody coming in and writing $1,000 or $2,000 check.
Yeah.
When you talk about those state grants, especially the OSAA ones, those are highly competitive too. You can't rely on those. Like there's a lot of 2A schools, 1A schools that don't have facilities. I mean, it's common. Not here in the valley, but all over the whole state. So when you say, you know, like facility grants, everybody and their dog's putting in for those little piddly $5,000-$10,000 grants, and they're highly competitive. I mean, it's hard to get your hands on them, especially over here on the east side.
You know, talking about these kids, you know, they are true student athletes. Last year, you know, 69% of the student body participated. I think it's going to be more this year.
It is.
Yeah.
This year.
The girls' GPA last year is a 3.8. The boys with a 3.55.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
those are doing two hard things. They're succeeding in school, and they're a student
I know.
athlete.
Is that amazing? I mean, were you like that? I mean, I don't know. Could you have done that?
Well, I could not have run track like they do.
No,
Because I see,
he got good grades. He was smart.
What's funny is that, I mean, we see that all the time with the athletes that are coming up through high school. I mean, particularly because we're here, and this is, I mean, and it's always amazing to me. Some kid will have a great athlete. He'll have a ton of scholarships, and he'll have it's like, what line were you in when God handed out gifts? I didn't see that line. Yeah, you know.
but to have a 3.8 average,
right, yeah,
is-
that's
I
crazy.
mean, it's just amazing to me.
Yeah.
So,
But I think that I don't think that's uncommon in really good athletic programs because the coaches are not only holding them accountable for doing the work that they need to be doing in their athletics, but they're also holding them accountable for their grades and for and I mean George Mendoza is here regularly on the show, and we were talking about how, you know, I think he said a two-sport athlete was going to, I mean, just doing their thing was going to miss like 30 days, 30 days of school a year, which is, you know, over the 10% mark, whatever it might be, but yet they're still able to overcome those issues. And I don't know. That's amazing. You know,
our our athletic director and principal, Mike Mills. You know, he had a quote that I remember and sticks with me: is in Imbler, we are producing a good product.
Right.
And it's so true. I mean, that as an administration, as a community,
right.
It's our requirement. It's our objective to produce a product, a good product. And I think that they're, these kids are a good example of that. So it's working.
Well, and I know Doug was the principal out there for 10 years. I'm sorry, what's Doug's last name?
Hislop,
yeah. And I mean, he didn't have a single dropout in that time, you know, and that's because the school's a little smaller. You can keep track of every student. You know, I mean, those are very powerful things.
It's the teachers. I mean,
right.
You know, there's just everybody is committed to the product.
Yeah. Well, and people know that. I mean, the reputation of the Imbler School District is well known. You know, and you're right.
Yeah.
They produce good products.
Yeah, they do. I'll vouch for that.
Not biased at all.
Not biased at all. Yeah, I am biased. Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Because we're proud of them.
Yeah. Now, so you have a gala coming up.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about that and what that is, and put that graphic up, Benny.
So May 4th, there is a gala that's being hosted by the Imbler Track and Field Community Project. It's going to take place at the barn at Tamarack Springs. The Coppingers and Kuntzes have donated the facility. I know that Heinz Meat has donated some of the dinner. And so there's 100 tickets, okay? And so if you go to you can RSVP at imblertrack@gmail.com.
Okay.
Or go to the imblertrack.com website, and check out the opportunities to go and participate in that. They have some silent auction items. I know there's some hunts that are on there.
Yeah.
There'll be live and a silent auction. There is a guided fly fishing trip, some VRBO opportunities at Wallowa Lake, and I'm sure I'm missing I think there was a donation for a unit of plywood, high value item there, I'll guarantee. And so if people would like to join us to that would be great. There's going to be live music and a great dinner, great atmosphere. And so take a look.
What's that email address again?
It is imblertrack@gmail.com. Or go to the website and there'll be information.
I already got the website up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just a great facility out there, and it'll be a fun project.
Oh, it is beautiful.
A fun
Beautiful
night.
location. Yeah. And great great people
Yeah.
too that run that.
Yeah. So 100 tickets, they're already selling. So
Okay.
make sure you get involved.
Good.
Like to try to get everybody RSVP'd by March 20th.
Yeah. And when is that? May when?
That's May 4th.
May 4th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So put that Benny, put the so there's the information if you guys want to reach out, their website and their email.
It's also in the comments
Yep.
on Facebook.
Yep. So that's clickable right in the comments.
And if you can't attend,
Right.
but you have something, a vacation home, a property, something that you might be interested in donating to the project. If that's how you can help, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Good. Well, we can't quit this conversation though without doing a little bit of a throwback. And you were telling me a story about Kyle and you.
Oh no,
the hamburger.
This is a setup.
Yeah. No, yeah. So you guys were a year apart.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
We had some classes together because he was
did.
smart.
Yeah.
And why did you always sit behind me?
I don't know. What classes did we have together? We had some classes together.
We did. I remember the room. I remember where we sat. I just
can't remember the class. Was it middle school or was it high school?
I think it was high school.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've known each other. I know his brother. I know his dad.
Yeah.
I always thought it was funny that his dad named him Kager, and he owned a beer distribution company.
Yeah. Well, the first
my name
time I ever met Kay, your mom, she said, yeah, we own a beer, and I named my son Kegger. And I don't know if she was looking for my oldest son, looking for some reaction from me, like, oh, okay, yeah. And then, but they were gracious enough to spell it differently.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Everybody knew. I mean, it's not like you ain't getting that by me.
Yeah, but tell the story you were telling before about when you go through.
Yeah, so
You're gonna get me in trouble here.
Oh yeah, you can't get fired again, dude.
Is it over? Yeah, so I lived out on Fruitdale, and they had a Burger King there at C&M.
Yeah.
And Dodsy worked there, and I was fairly frugal, and I'd go in and order the $1 Whopper.
On Sundays, they had Whoppers for $1.
Yeah. And it would be loaded. Your Whopper would grow if Dodsy was in the kitchen.
Yeah. We called it the God Whopper, is what we called it.
The Dodd Whopper.
The God Whopper.
The God Whopper.
Yeah. People would come through and say, we want the God Whopper. You get everything in the kitchen on this thing. I mean, chicken, whatever you want. 5 patties if you want it.
Yeah.
Don't. Hopefully Waldrop's not listening.
Yeah. So was that the price of $1 though? Same price.
Yeah.
It just had all the extras on it.
If Dodsy was in the kitchen.
Yeah. Fun.
Oh,
The good days, the good days.
Yeah. Thanks to you guys for giving us this
Yeah,
opportunity.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you bet. Put that URL one more time, Benny. And again, if you want to get in touch, there's the information on the screen. The clickable information is in the Facebook
You
comments.
even did it in Imbler colors too. Look at that.
Yeah, I saw him in there working on it. So
We've got some great videos on the YouTube page, the Imbler YouTube page. There's it really tells the whole story of the project.
Yeah, and thanks Steve West for doing those, right?
Yeah, thank you for hitting that up. That's nice.
Steve's a good friend of mine, and he
did a great job.
Yeah, they're beautiful videos. Yeah, and so they're not quite as good as what we would have done.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but I can tell you, he's a pretty fierce competitor. I'm glad he doesn't compete much in this market. He's got something else to do. Yeah. So, all righty. Well, hey, do you want to get us out of here, man?
Let's get it. Let's do it. On this day, what is today?
Today is the 7th.
Yeah, I knew that. 1778, Captain James Cook first sights Oregon coast off of Yaquina Bay. Yaquina.
1778?
Yaquina. Yeah, 1778 was the first time the Oregon coast was ever spotted.
Wow.
1857, baseball decides 9 innings constitutes an official game instead of 9 runs. It used to be the first to 9 runs until 1857.
Really?
Yep. Wow. 1876, Alexander Graham Bell receives a patent for the telephone in the United States. A long time ago. 1929, the first nonstop flight made from America to Asia across the Bering Strait happened by Ween Air, Alaska. 1955, the musical Peter Pan starring Mary Martin is broadcast live on NBC. Attracts a then record 65 million viewers. In 1955, 65 million people watched something? 65 million people had TVs?
Yeah, what percentage of the, I mean, it had to be like 70 or 80%.
Of the people that had TVs.
Yeah,
for sure.
right, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just there ain't much after that, so I just picked this one because it's kind of fun because Charlie Sheen's been in the news a lot in the past. In 2011, he was fired from the CBS sitcom 2.5 Men, and that was like part of that whole, you know, where he just went on his little crazy rampage. And that was kind of fun. Number one song on America in this day. I went all the way back to 1974. "Seasons in the Sun" by Terry Jacks.
Yeah.
And the quote of the day comes from Groucho Marx, and it's, "I refuse to join any club that would have me as a member." I like that one. I refuse to join any club that would have me as a member.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks again to the Imbler Community Track Project.
Yeah.
For coming
Thank you
on.
guys for coming on.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank
Good
you.
luck on your fund searchage.
Yeah, keep us posted.
We will.
And, yeah. And I don't know, you're welcome to come back and talk about it more. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you, Eastern Oregon. We'll see you soon.
See ya.